Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for May 5th, 2016. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka Pivot Boss, and this is a look at the daily time frame of the ES right now. We mentioned before that on these highs up here, as price was pushing higher, we were mentioning don't fall in love with this up move. The expectation was that we would find some sort of rejection on the thin part of the profile, and then we would rotate back downward, perhaps to the opposite end of the profile. And so far, we've done just that. And it's been a slow, kind of gradual decline, but overall, you've seen a lot of the key levels that we've been watching play a major role. 2077.5 played a major role. The 25% monthly Pivot Boss pivot played a major role here. And right now, what you're seeing is our 2061s is playing a major role. This is the HVN, the composite VPOC here. You can see price broke below it, and for two straight sessions here, or at least one and a half so far, bears are defending 2061s, attempting to keep it offered for a shot at seeing further downside price discovery toward the bottom end of the profile. Now, that doesn't mean they win. It just means who's positioned where. Bears are positioned here, looking for a push downward toward the previous month's low of 2026, and perhaps all the way down into the LVN between 2009 and 2013s. Now, overall, if bulls can push through those 2061s, you're going to run the stops above that area and perhaps start to see a move back up. But until that happens, or any rejection above 61s, that would imply more downside price discovery. So right now, I still believe more further downside action is likely to be seen. Any push beyond 2061s and acceptance would take a bid and attempt to push prices higher. If you look at an intraday time frame, you can see here that the previous session we were watching 46s. We were looking for 46s to defend and hold, and instead price got very, very muddy. We knew it in the trading room that prices were starting to get very, very volatile. A lot of whipsaw action, and eventually it closed back above 46s. We've seen an overnight rally, but 5-day VPOC has been offered, and now we're back down a little bit. So short term, right now 55s here being held after the spike up, and if prices can't get back above 55, look for a retest back at the previous close at 2046. All right, let's take a look now at crude oil. Here's crude oil on a daily time frame. One thing we were looking for was after the recent expansion, when we took this price at 43.85 bid and rallied it up into the 46.65, which was our LVN, we knew that once price hit that level, we could see a pullback off the LVN, and we saw a 2.5, 3-day pullback. And what I've been mentioning is watch the pattern of the market. 1, 2, 3 days down, you usually get a half and a move up. You know, that's kind of been the pattern here, at least recently. And so we've seen 2, 3 days down. 1, 2, 3. We tested prices below 43.85, and this is what I mentioned before. If prices cannot find acceptance below 43.85, look for this thing to snap back and perhaps start its advance toward our 49 target above. 49 is the HVN. So if we take a look here at the upside here, 49.08, there's the HVN. You can see prices have pulled back and defended, and so far so good. What I would say is you would want to see price close near highs today, or close near the top of its advance. And if that happens, the upcoming day could be very, very powerful in that it offers a great trade location. Because say price closes where we are now, you have this previous high, you have the expansion through that level. The upcoming session around 45s could be a significant area to defend and perhaps squeeze into 47s, 48s, 49s. So that's something I'll be looking for throughout the day. Now, if we take a look here at the RT crude oil, you can see how bullish it's been. A very, very bullish advance. VWAP has been bid. The only time it didn't go bid here, it fell into the mid, the ETH mid, bounced, held off our VWAP, and continued higher. But this is an aggressive price discovery phase right now. An aggressive price discovery phase. You're leaving behind a series of LVNs. Typically speaking, in an uptrending market, bulls will defend counter trend rotations into the LVNs, right? So every pullback into an LVN provides a short-term buying opportunity within the current existing price structure. So look for that to continue to play out. until prices fail to hold an LVN, at which point you may see a trading range develop. Overall, let's take a look at gold, because this one has been very interesting the way it's played out. One thing we talked about before was on this day right here, after reaching our target at 1301.80, I mentioned that could be a rejection day. If it is a rejection day, look to defend the next day for a shot at seeing a move into 67.30s. And so far, we came very, very close to those 67.30s. We got very, very close, and prices have since bounced. So we have seen our pullback. But what I did mention was, while this rotation may be short-lived, bulls will be looking to eagerly defend for a shot at seeing further upside continuation. And that's something to continue to look for. Even though we did see a pullback here, I think signs are good that we could see a continuation to the upside. Perhaps once this thing starts to really get going, perhaps we'll see a move into that 1338 to 1341, which are the 100% expansion targets from our two key ranges that we've been using since the beginning of the year. All right, let's take a look at the NQ. Here's a daily time frame of the NQ. Likewise, we thought this was a rejection day the day it happened. I said if that's a rejection day, we could have found our short-term top, look to defend a retest for a shot at seeing a push against the recent lows. Because what I mentioned early on was that it appeared that we were forming an expanding ripple of some sort, and that could get you to run stops on either end. We did see a great continuation to the downside, and we slammed right into 4,300 and have held. So right now we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-day trading range all around 4,300. I'm not convinced that the lows are in, and so with a couple of days of holding 4,300, I think you could see a quick continuation back down. The next major key level below is going to be 41.88.5. If we bring up some of the PivotBoss pivots here, you can see that the next 25% monthly expansion level is going to be 42.24. So those are the next two downside targets that I'd be looking for if we continue downward. We also have our primary bear target for the week, which is 42.72. That's around the corner. But the idea is 43.55. Continue to watch that level. Above that level would trap these participants and squeeze back up. And failure to see any acceptance back above 55 here would suggest a continuation back toward these bottom levels here. So we'll see how this one continues to play out. Looking at the NQ on an intraday basis, again, 4,300, very important here. Price snapped up to 43.42 and has since pulled back from those highs. We have what appears to be kind of an impulse range here that we can play off of, but so far nothing concrete other than a quick rally up and a pullback. So we'll see how this one plays out. Again, 43.55 is a very important level. If prices are going to continue higher today, then I think that could be the target, and then that could be the area to fade back to value. So intraday, a little more choppy than you would normally expect, but we'll see how this one plays out, because we could see more trading range behavior in all these markets as we head into the non-farm payroll number pre-market Friday morning. So we have another day before that occurs, so we could see a little bit more back and forth action, and that's why I mentioned we have a very clear key range that is formed today. That key range could contain trading range activity throughout the session until NFP comes out. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this thing plays out the rest of the session. Happy Cinco de Mayo.